No.
Hello friends, in the last video we learned there is something called the shell that is interpreting the commands that you type into the terminal. Now one reason that Linux is amazing is that the commands that you type all follows a similar type of structure in the way you type them. Now by understanding this structure you will be able to understand the common language that all Linux commands use. In this video we will see what commands are and how they are structured. So, all commands are effectively just a little computer programs that are installed somewhere in your computer. So, for example, date is a program, cal is a program, echo is another program, and so on. Now, the command or program name that you want to use is always the first part of the command. So, we start that command with the word date or with the word cal or echo like we used before. Now, each command has its own unique behavior that you can actually look up using something called the manual pages. We will show you how to do that in the next video. But the general command structure goes like this. First, you type out the command name, for example, date, cal, echo, etc. Then you give command some options to customize its behavior. Then you give command some inputs to actually operate on. Now the first thing you type is the command name. Now that lets the shell know what program you actually want to run. And once the shell knows what program to run, it will search for that program on something called your shell's path, which is just a list of folders that contain these programs. You can actually see your shell's path by typing echo, then a dollar sign, then path, and press enter. And you can see the output, which is list of folders, and each folder is separated by a colon. Now what shell will do is it will start from very left of the path and it will look inside the folder for a command name you typed. If it doesn't find it there, then it will look into the next one. If it doesn't find it there also, then it will look into the next one and so on until it got to the end folder. And if it doesn't find the command name in any of this folder, then the shell will give you an error like command not found. For example, if I try learn for hub, then it says it couldn't find this command. So what the shell did is it looked for a command called learn for hub in each of these folder, and it didn't find it in any of this folder and returns error called command not found. You can actually see which folder that a command is stored in by using the which command. So it's like which folder is this command in. So it's which and then cal. If I press enter, it will tell me that the cal command is actually in /user/bin folder, which is on our path, and therefore cal was able to found. Let's try for echo. Which echo? It is in /bin, which is also on our path. That's how the shell knows where to find commands. Now you can customize the way the command work by giving them different options and different inputs. Let's start with the inputs. It's important to know that not all commands require inputs. Some inputs are optional. For example, a date command doesn't strictly require an input. You can just type date and it will show the output. But most commands do require some form of input, which have name as operand, because command operate on input. The input is sometimes called an operand. So, to give the command an input or an operand, you simply type a space after a command name, then type the input. For example, if we take cal command, I could just type cal and press enter, and it will show me this month calendar. But to customize the behavior, I can give it an input. For example, if I want calendar of 2020, I can type cal space 2020 and press enter. Now I get a totally different output because I gave command some input. You can also give more than one inputs. For example, cal space 12 space 2020, and if I press enter, then it will give me calendar of December 2020, which was my input, as 12 equals December and 2020 as the year. Let's take another command. For example, echo space hello. Now hello here is an input to the echo command. Now that we have understand inputs, let's discuss options. We have used option before with the cal command, and we gave it the y option. By default, the cal -y will show the current year calendar. So we gave the cal command an option which was the y option, which you can see is preceded by a dash. This is common for options which are represented by single letter. If we want, we can use two dashes to specify the option name in full. Let's take a look on date command to understand how options work even better. Date by default will show today's date in our current time zone. So if I write date and press enter, it will show me date and time and also the time zone. So to get the date in universal time such as UTC, we can type date space -u, and now we can see the change in time zone. So we gave the date command a u option. Now if we had other options to give to the command, we can list them right after one another. So for example, we could type date dash capital A space dash capital U, and that will include two options for date command. Or simply we can write date space -au, which will produce same output as above. In this, the order of options doesn't matter. This command doesn't have any option like dash capital A U, so it will show me invalid option. Sometimes it is difficult to understand what all the options mean. So sometimes options have long form names. So for example, date -u, which gives date in universal time. You could also do date space ~universal. Now long form gives us the same output. As you can see in universal, long names are preceded by two dashes. Long names are not available for all options. It depends on the command you are using. If we want to use two options in long form, then we have to separate them with space, and we cannot combine them like we did for the single letter options. For example, cal space ~long form 1 space ~long form 2. It's important to know that everything on Linux, including commands, is case sensitive. So for example, date command in lowercase is valid, but date command in uppercase or with D capital are not valid. Also, the options and inputs are also case sensitive. For example, date command has U option, but it doesn't have capital U option. Make sure you always write command with right case sensitivity. So only thing remaining is about options having their own inputs. For example, if we go to the cal, we can see the calendar for December 2020 by giving it two inputs as cal 12 2020, not options, two inputs. But there is an option that will allow us to see certain amount of months after that too. So for example, if I did cal, gave it a capital A option, then write a number 1, then 12 2020, this will show December 2020 with 1 month after, and the A option gives you after, but it also needs to know how many months after, so I write 1. So this one here is actually an input to the A option, and then you got inputs to the command. You can also see month before using capital B option. For example, cal space dash B space 1 space 12 space 2020. That will show us December 2020 with 1 month before it. You can also combine this together. For example, cal 1 month after 1 month before of December 2020. Now you get December 2020 with 1 month after, that is January 2021, and 1 month before, that is November 2020. So here you can see how you can actually provide options with their own inputs, and how options are okay to use when you give commands its own inputs. So here A and B options have their own inputs, and cal commands has its own inputs 12 and 2020. This is how powerful Linux commands are. So this is how commands are structured. Thank you.
No.